Hey guys, I loved Loveless, and I want to break down why. Loveless is the latest film from Russian writer-director Andrei Zvyagintsev starring Marian Spivak and Alexei Rozin. I went into this film knowing absolutely nothing about it, except for the fact that it had had amazing reviews out of Cannes last year. So for me, that's all I need to know. If a movie has amazing reviews, that's just like saying to me, hey, you need to see it no matter what. So I'm gonna kind of run with that same thing here, guys. You should see this no matter what. But it is pretty much a drama slash kind of slow burn thriller. Like, it is a very, very meticulous and slow paced film, but it is about kind of a young couple who are going into a divorce and something rather bleak happens regarding their 12-year-old son. Of course, not everyone has as much faith in reviews as I do, so if you do want to look up some more stuff regarding the plot, that is totally up to you, though I recommend that you don't, because the movie kind of switches gears a fair way into it, and I'm sure the trailers and whatnot will spoil that, so I suggest you don't watch any of that stuff at all and just take the dive. After I give the film a score at the end of this video, I do want to dive into a couple of spoilers to discuss my interpretation of the ending, so if you have seen the film, stick around then and see what I thought. The first thing that I want to address is that this film is damn hypnotic. This is kind of like feel-bad cinema at its most drawn out and miserable. So if that kind of thing is not for you, steer clear. If, however, you adore that type of thing just like I do, you are in for an absolute treat with Loveless, because it is filmmaking perfection at like the highest standard. This movie is like all pain, all suffering, all the time, and yet it's some of the most beautifully rendered pain and suffering I have ever seen in my entire life. The film isn't dealing in physical pain and suffering, but more in the existential type thing of, why do I do the things that I do? Why am I the way that I am? Why have I made these decisions? And like, what do these decisions stack up to say about me as a person? What is my identity in this world? Zvyagintsev lets every single shot linger in a way that over time the film starts to kind of provoke you to judge these intensely flawed people. But through shifts in kind of perspective, we kind of are invited to look inwards and judge the way that we are judging them. And I think for a film to do that, it's not going to work for everyone. I think it's a limited thing that only a few people will actually be able to tap into, but it is what the director is going for. If you can tap into that, this experience will honestly just become transcendent. And look, maybe a part of that is because I fully get the context of this film. Like, I myself am a child of a divorce, so like I kind of understand so much of what I'm experiencing. There was moments here that was super powerful. I was like ripped right back to that time in my life. So it definitely captures that in a really, really audacious way, I thought. Like, I've never seen it handled quite the way this film did. The depiction of that internal family trauma is so real, so authentic, and I'm honestly just in awe of the way it was delivered. Loveless has some of the greatest creative direction I have ever seen too, with shots that kind of reframe slowly so that the perspective on the characters changes and the way that we understand them in their environment evolves, to some of the greatest uses of reflection and glass that I have, like, it's honestly, there's so many shots in this that I was like sitting there going, ah, ah, yeah. That is not even an exaggeration. I'm sure there was a couple of times people looked over at me going, and were like, huh? Zvyagintsev captures so many facets of his characters' lives, both personal and public, and he makes all of them confusing. This is actually a good thing, because at no point does it ever feel like we're being told that what someone is doing is right or wrong. All character actions are kind of driven by greed or envy or selfishness or anger, but we're never at any point told that those things are explicitly wrong. They're just part of human nature. That's just the way people are. That's where those decisions come from. Because I do want to keep this video short, I'm going to condense the last couple of thoughts. The score is incredible. Like, it is honestly astounding from the get-go. Just woof. The locations are fantastic. This film is set in Russia. There seems to be an abundance of fantastic locations, and the rest of the cast is absolutely outstanding. Now, I do think that there is a political message in this film that I don't understand. I don't have the context to understand what is going on in Russia at this time. I've kind of looked into it a little bit, but I don't think I have enough of an understanding to properly grapple with that. Those that do have an understanding though will probably get even more out of this film than I did. I think a lot of people that watch this movie will struggle with the bleakness of the whole ordeal, and if that doesn't switch them off, the moral ambiguity of the characters probably will. That being said, if you are like me and you engage in what Loveless has to offer, you are going to be immensely rewarded with an experience that doesn't offer any clear or easy answers, but invites you to attempt to decipher what it is that you're seeing, what this is all about. The film is a challenge, it's an enigma, and it's up to you to engage in that. As far as I'm concerned, I got this movie, and seeing its brilliance laid out before me, I cannot in good conscience say that it is anything less than a flawless movie. I don't think it is the best movie I've ever seen, despite me being able to say that some elements of it are definitely right up there. So when it comes to scoring it, I think I want to give this one a 9.7 out of 10. And a very, very strong recommendation because oh boy did I love it. Now, spoilers, I do want to quickly offer my interpretation of the ending. I don't know if it's correct, I don't know if there is a correct ending, but this may help some people who finished the movie and didn't have a definitive idea of what it was about. It may give you something to at least start kind of that internal conversation, start to work out what it all kind of means just based off what I think. Okay, so I think that looking at this movie, when you stop loving something, when you stop caring, it disappears completely. And I think that's why they couldn't find him. He just ceased to exist because they never really cared. They never did care. They were so broken and self-consumed that it kind of just, like, the child stopped mattering, and that's why he's gone. He literally ceased to exist because they were loveless. I'm not saying that that is a supernatural thing at all, but more of a kind of symbolic or metaphorical thing. Sure, the parents search for their child, but the love was gone. I think it was consumed in all the greed and the envy and the anger. And I think like in their quest to be happy, this driven quest like at all costs just to be happy with themselves, they lost the ability to actually love. That may or may not sound like complete bullshit to you, but that is what I got out of the film based on kind of what I experienced with it. I'm interested to know in the comments whether you guys kind of have any alternate interpretations or have any other ideas to offer. Let's start a conversation about it because this is a movie that kind of deserves to be talked about. So that was my review of Loveless. If you stayed to the end of the video, I'm sure that means that you have seen it. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And while you're down there, it's probably worth hitting our subscribe button if you haven't already to check out more videos from us. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can also support us on Patreon. I do this full time, so that kind of support is just mwah!